Welcome to Poetry Happy Hour with RCC MUSE. Say hi, everybody, or wave. I suppose you could all say hi if you want to. You can go hi, 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 whatever. And then immediately stop yourselves again. RCC MUSE is the annual literary journal of Riverside City College and publishes diverse prose, poetry, and art from contributors around the world. My name is James Duquette. I'm the co-advisory editor, and we'd like to welcome you. In today's brief event, these MUSE editors and a special guest will read poems selected by that special guest, Joe Scott Coe, from past issues of MUSE. And you'll have the chance to learn about the editors and hear their views on the process of producing a literary journal in extraordinary circumstances. This event is another in our ongoing series of live events on Instagram. You can find us at RCC MUSE and Facebook Live in advance of our book launch on June 11th for the spring 2020 issue of MUSE. I also have to take this time an opportunity to recognize and celebrate one of the people who has been instrumental in the success of RCC MUSE for years, award-winning author and MUSE co-advisory editor, Joe Scott Coe. She's down there somewhere. But more about her later. Right now, let's get things going. Let's bring on our first editor, Angel Neri, who's also the social media coordinator for MUSE. So if you've loved quarantine readings, you should thank him. Hi, Angel.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and share a little bit of what's been going on this year.
Well, I'm a third-year editor for MUSE. I started in the 2018 issue along with Elianora and Zoe under Professor Scott Coe. I'm a poet and English major at RCC, and it was my plan to transfer to UCR in the fall, but then this whole thing happened, so I'm weighing my options before I have to decide and tell them. The issue, jokingly in conversation with Elianora, I've been saying that this issue is cursed, but no, I mean, it's a great issue, and it's definitely special for the way that it was made. It was difficult to, at least me personally, I trained myself to work not at home, so it's been really difficult to work at home. So mainly that, and it's really weird to not, like, to have made a book and only have seen like your team like twice, like face to face. But yeah, no, I'm just glad that I've had the book to focus on these past like 9 weeks.
I think it has been something that for a lot of us is actually, distraction isn't the right word, but there's something about the creativity and having that expression that's been really meaningful. I know it has been for me. I literally have forgotten the difficulties that are around as we've been working on it. So thank you for sharing. All right, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about your poet. I'm going to go and try and, whoops, I knew I was going to do that. You had to know that was going to happen, didn't you, folks? I'm going to go ahead and try and get the screen up. So tell us about your poem and then read the poem.
All right, I'll be reading a poem by Lawrence Snidel. Lawrence Snidel is a poet, musician, and retired teacher. He has published more than 100 poems in such magazines as Columbia Cape Rock, Lyric and Gulfstream, and in many anthologies, including The Pagan's Muse and Visiting Frost. Some of his work has been performed in New York City and Baltimore. The poem I'll be reading by Lawrence Snidel is called Universe. The first explosion tore it all apart. Everything collapsed, expanded, diffused into streamings of unimagined heart, dissolved in chaos that in turn unloosed our familiar order, and father-son spiraled into space. Yeats said the center could not hold, but you, I, and everyone didn't need an Irish poet mentor. We knew already wholes are sums of parts, and everything is composed of things. How could there be endlessness without fresh starts? even eternity requires now. All our bodies hold the building blocks of universal stars and everyday love. Prophets and their holy books can never separate our present from forever.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce our senior editor, Elianora Reyes, who is also the designer for this year's book. And this book is beautiful. Our cover reveal is coming soon. Hi, Elianora.
Hi, I am Elianora. I am an artist. I'm also a student, and this is my third year with Muse. I've designed, I think, one of the best issues that we've had. I think working in these circumstances has been really difficult for all of us for a myriad of reasons, but I think that having this really creative and interesting and collaborative project for all of us has also helped and kind of reconnected us to each other, even through a disconnected screen. I am going to be reading Kyla Ivana Fernandez's Spoons. And her bio is Kyla Ivana Fernandez is a student, volunteer, and mother to a 12-year-old Chihuahua. She enjoys getting lost in worlds of conspiracy theories, ghost stories, and criminal cases. She has yet to discover her calling, but plans on retiring in Norway. This is Spoons by Kyla Ivana Fernandez. The color of these walls has changed, from a chartreuse pastel to a yellow-green passé. When we moved in to the small dollhouse, you insisted on painting the doors red, and I accidentally picked burgundy instead. You loved it anyway. Our first month here, we had but one spoon, and winter called for 80 types of chicken soup. We were there, porcelain bowls, our legs tangled, and instead of at least buying disposable utensils, you said you'd rather starve to death than move. One spoon sufficed. I bought 2 buckets of paint. The landlord wants this place like how it used to be, and the deposit costs more than the manual labor. Our burgundy door will belong to others soon, a luckier couple with a more permanent home. A space for 2 will have the fortune of sharing spoons, but won't.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Eleonora. Our next editor is Sherry Jackson. Hi, Sherry.
Hey, hello.
How are you doing?
Guys?
Tell us about yourself and tell us a little about what the process has been like for you.
All right. So about me, unlike Elianora and Angel, I'm a newbie at Muse. I started in January. I joined the class after taking Dukett's creative writing class, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I really like where I am. Honestly, the best part about Muse is what it gave me to hold on to during this pandemic. It's obviously a really, really tough time for the whole world right now, but this dumb little magazine, and I mean dumb with love, has given me so much to hold on to. And it's, it's just a bunch of creative people coming together, artists and writers and poets, and all of us making sure their work looks amazing in this little book that we're going to sell and share with others. So yeah, that's me. I will be reading a poem for you guys today. I'm going to be reading Jessica Delgado's Submarine. So about Jessica Delgado, she is a shapeshifter who takes on the form of a full-time student, costume designer, and death enthusiast. She has lived in Southern California her whole life and is aspiring to be an English professor with an emphasis in film, theater, and Chicano studies. She writes on an international collaboration blog of published authors called Graveyard Writers. And here is Submarine. I dreamt that I was witnessing a war, not in full action, but of its ancient history. Looking at the artifacts of someone else's life, wondering who they'd been, where they'd walked, who they'd loved. I plunged deeper into the ocean. I don't remember ever entering the vessel, and savored at the beauty of what could be near death. I was terrified, but witnessed someone else's nightmare. Their life sunk, plunged, forgotten. I closed my eyes. I was physically unable to open them. I looked to the right briefly, my lids heavy as the lead that these people sunk in. the vessel a representation of my own life. I could not move. I could not be brought to the surface. For now, I could only sway with the tides and pray that I don't sink. There you go.
Thank you, Sherry. I'm going to say thank you once again and then move on and introduce our next editor, and that is Jacob Wilson. Jacob.
Hi.
Hi, Jacob.
Hey, how's it going?
Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe a little bit about what the process has been like. And then you can go right into reading the poem, which is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hi, my name is Jacob Wilson. I am a veteran. I am a student. I'm a writer of genre trash. This is my first year. Working with Muse. And, you know, despite the pandemic, it's been pretty great. But it has, you know, it'd be a straight up lie if I said it wasn't challenging. There were definitely some moments where it felt a little overwhelming, but I think that part of what's made this issue so special is that we have overcome those overwhelming moments, and we've really brought it together to like make a beautiful, well put together book that I'm absolutely in love with. The poet that I'm going to be reading today is Eric Usuna. It is a sonnet entitled, "It Seems to Me a Great and Pretty Thing." It seems to me a great and pretty thing when liars only lovely truths do speak. For sweetly stunning sounds do solely spring from lying mouths whose truths are hewed unique. If art and beauty nature did intend to hover o'er the rest in godly name, then one might lie in truth and may defend a truthful liar's place in nature's claim. For tongues do often slip and shine a light whose wicked blaze may pose a bit of harm, but those can with them bring sweet delight with cooling words that wet the soul with charm. And honest names can honest smiles supply when they're behind the name's dishonesty.
Thank you. Yes, we are all, I'm switching between gallery view and speaker view. I realized it's more fun this way so that we can see when we go in these little interstitials, everyone can see you all, which is more fun for me anyway. So our next editor is April Torres.
Hi.
Hi, April. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and you can say a few words about what the experience has been like for you this year, and then you can go right into the bio and the poem. I won't interrupt you in between.
So I'm an English major. It's my first year at RCC, though I'm hoping to transfer soon. And the editors have mentioned before that it's been quite a challenge to create this journal since the pandemic and the isolation that we have to kind of overcome these obstacles. But I think there's a sort of satisfaction that comes along with, you know, everyone putting in their efforts, everyone contributing, and like piece by piece or like page by page, we create this journal. And I just think that's like probably the best thing about Muse, you know?
Terrific.
So the next poet is Alex English. He was raised in the house his grandfather built on the Campbell Citrus Ranch in Corona, California. Although the ranch was uprooted by the contagion of urbanization when he was only 9, the values of simpler living have always been with him. Alex currently lives in Riverside, where he writes, performs musically, and enjoys the irreplaceable affections of his friend and family. Up next is his poem, Heliophobia, by Alex English. We drove down Market, light reaching over the foothills from the east, a place always ahead. All the Riverside brick and plaster still held their soft colors, clay reds, overcast grays, cotton whites, helpless hues soon to burn come morning. But we are not ready to burn, and a new day has always been for those who are. The 91 West, knowing this all ends at the Pacific. But prolonging certainty has always been the right of mankind. We will keep our soft colors for as long as we can.
Thank you. Right, we're supposed to do this. Thank you very much. Okay, let's meet our next editor. It's Rosa Calderon. Hi, Rosa.
Hi.
Tell us about yourself.
This is my last year at RCC and my first year working on MUSE. And I think I came in at a very interesting time because I got to work on a book where the process for publishing this book had all of the kinks worked out already, and getting to work in this new setting felt like we were pioneering a new way of doing it. It was very interesting and really cool.
Terrific. Okay, so go ahead and tell us about the poet that you'll be reading, and then go ahead and read the poem.
Okay. Christine Anderson is, her poetry has appeared in Reed Crab Creek Review, Poetic Diversity, and Anthology Active Voices for, among other publications. An award-winning journalist, awards from Society of Professional Journalists, San Diego chapter, and from the San Diego Press Club, an award-winning poet from Tomales Bay and Fish Chap Fellowships, Mary C. Moore Poetry Award from the Southern Indiana Review. She has taught English at RCC for 22 years. And this is her poem request. Christine Anderson. Do not read poem quietly, your lips unmoving, not a spit of word escaping as your eyes scan the lines, your arms bent, elbow parked at on the table, one hand cupping your chin, the other casually resting on the page, so motionless, the lights flicker off, convinced you're no longer there. So placid, the librarian puts down her books, dusts off her sleeves, locks the door behind as she leaves, and the janitor comes in and swoops around you. Rather, roll your eyes outright if you need to, until others look over, baffled by the interruption. If you must, pick up the poem by index finger and thumb, hold it out away from you, stand up, brush off whatever has fallen on your lap. Go ahead, tisk tisk too loudly, groan so noisily the dogs outdoors on the other side of the fence howls back. Shake your head vigorously until the room quivers at the vulgar alarm screams, knowing something is trying to get in.
Thank you very much. Yeah. More snaps, more snaps. And finally for tonight, Joe Scott Coe. I'm going to give you my little intro for Joe. Joe Scott Coe's book, Mass, A Sniper, a Father, and a Priest, was just awarded a silver medal for biography by E-Lit Book Awards, like in the last day. Woo! And she recently signed with University of Texas Press for a new book about the life of Kathy Leisner Whitman. Keep your eyes out for it. That's going to be a great book. Joe was instrumental in the development of MUSE's community-facing, pre-professional, and experiential learning model for students. She is and has been a tireless champion for including diverse voices, both in the journal and on the editorial staff. And even after handing off the day-to-day duties and operations of the journal to me, Joe has continued to work selflessly and tirelessly behind the scenes, providing leadership and guidance. We, the current members of the editorial and advisory staff of MUSE, cannot ever thank you enough, but we give it a try. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome, Joe. Say hi.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be with you guys, and I cannot wait. I've peaked. I will confess I have peaked, and I can't wait to see it really. So I just can't imagine doing what you guys have done this cycle. Like, wow, talk about a monkey wrench, right? And I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it. So the poet that I will be reading tonight is Donna Hilbert. And Donna Hilbert, when this poem was published originally, Her latest book was The Congress of Luminous Bodies, but she since has had a new book that came out in 2018 called Gravity, which is a new and selected other poems. Donna writes and leads private workshops from her home in Long Beach, California. And you can find her at donnahilbert.com. So this poem is called Days Waiting. Days waiting for the OBGYN, days in line at the DMV, days stalled on the 4-level interchange or queued at security, LAX, JFK. I want them back. Days waiting for the rinse cycle, days waiting for the oven to heat, days waiting for water to boil, toast to pop up, butter to melt. I want them back. Days passed in cold hallways, days spent at bedside, days stuck in small chairs waiting for bells, fearing alarms, days waiting for summer to start, days waiting for summer to end, days of migraine, nights of malaise, days of tedium, nights of dread. I want them back, not for exchange, but to exclaim, this too, my human life.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's what we have for tonight's Poetry Happy Hour. I think that was a wonderful little aperitif, don't you?
You sound like a Duke.
Danger, Will Robinson.
This always happens to you.
I was going to say, you knew it was going to happen sooner or later, didn't you? I mean, it has to, like every time.
That's part of outtakes now.
Well, it's also essentially, that's our year. That's been our year right there, right? Like at some point in our Zoom meetings, in our 72-hour Zoom meetings, I sound like a robot. Well, that is it. We will have another quarantine readings this coming Thursday. Is that right, Angel?
Yes, next Thursday, 7 p.m.
Any of you can unmute yourselves if you like and shout any kind of a thing you want to. Our quarantine readings will continue next week. Our book launch will be 2 weeks after that on June 11th. We're sorting out which platform is going to work best for us, as you may be able to tell. I really kind of like being able to see all the faces this way. I think it's kind of fun. You could give us feedback. There are people watching this, actually watching this thing, and you could tell us what you think as far as how that works. But in the meantime, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Joe, for curating and selecting these wonderful pieces. Thank all of the editors for sharing your experiences. I learned some things I didn't know. That's always good. And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you again soon. Yeah.